And changes are coming. Our next story actually deals with Alabama. Alabama has been going nuts. This is from about a month ago, but they have been happening actually in all sorts of different states. Texas has done it. I think South Carolina's done it. They've been purging non-citizen voter rolls. And for years, we've been hearing that this is not a thing, but it's happening. It's here.
Jarvis, more than 2/3 of the 3,200 are in our viewing area, including about 700 in Jefferson and Shelby counties. Now it is up to local election leaders to make sure only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote at Alabama polls. While about 95% of eligible Alabamians are registered to vote, Secretary of State Wes Allen is fighting to keep non-U.S. citizens away from the polls.
Philosophically, only American citizens should be voting in our elections. It's state law. It's in our Constitution here in Alabama.
So Allen sought alien ID numbers from the federal government to see if any were trying to vote in Alabama.
We had multiple conversations with the White House. We ran into one roadblock after another roadblock, red tape, bureaucracy.
But after cross-checking data with state agencies, Allen's office found more than 3,200 non-citizens registered in Alabama. We asked for a county-by-county breakdown. Jefferson, Shelby, and Tuscaloosa counties have a combined 854 on their voting rolls.
We almost have 500,000 registered voters in the county. So to have some folks slip through the cracks like that, I'm not surprised.
Board of Registrars leaders like Barry Stevenson must now pitch in by sending out letters requiring voters in question to verify their citizenship. If they don't and show up to vote, they must fill out a voter update form at the polls.
You're signing and attesting that you are a U.S. citizen. So if they move forward and they are still not a U.S. citizen, then they can be subject to criminal prosecution.
And Allen says his mission to ensure only Americans have a say in its elections will continue.
We're going to keep pushing, and we're not going to slow down.
The deadline to register to vote in Alabama is October 21st. Now, Allen says he is the first Alabama Secretary of State to remove non-U.S. citizens from the voter rolls, and that they are working to find out how so many were allowed to register to vote in the first place. Jarvis?
So there you have it. There you have it. There is tons and tons of illegal activity on the voting polls, but they're clearing it all out.
Stephen.
Yes, what? Sorry.
I said that's racist, Stephen.
I don't care where they're from.
Everything is racist.
You're a racist.
Breaking the law is not a race. Sorry.
30
it's on
lashes.
behalf of taking down America, Steve. That's justice.
Gotta do your part.
Social
I'll tell
justice.
you what. But here, on the other hand,
No, this is great. This is obvious.
And Texas clearing everything out and kind of getting rid of people that should not be on the voter ballots. And again, it's not even just people that are not able to legally vote. It's also people who are dead. I mean, my father, he passed away, God rest his soul, in 2021. Always voted as a Republican, but I'm sure for the last 3 years, he's been voting as a Democrat. Almost guarantee that. On the other hand, California, and this is from a year ago, but they are expanding the ability of illegal aliens to vote.
Santa Ana could become the latest city in the country to allow non-citizens to vote at the ballot box. Non-citizens are prohibited from voting in federal elections.
But municipalities in Maryland, Vermont, and here in California have allowed non-citizens to vote in local elections. Carlos Saucedo is in Santa Ana tonight, where the city council took up the issue. Carlos.
Good evening. As you know, Santa Ana has been a sanctuary city for undocumented immigrants since 2016. But a new proposal could take things to the next level by allowing non-citizens the right to vote in local elections. And as you can imagine, this has been met with mixed reactions.
Mayor, if I could just ask for the respect of our audience.
During public comment at Tuesday night's Santa Ana City Council meeting, impassioned remarks took center stage over a controversial item, one that could potentially allow non-citizens the right to vote in city council and mayoral election.
Non-citizens already vote. It's called a crime. It's called fraud. It's called unconstitutional.
I love when we have extreme right-wing folks show up to tell you what you shouldn't do, because throughout history, we have always had those folks denying the right to vote to many people of color.
Santa Ana City Council member Jonathan Ryan Hernandez and one of his colleagues have initiated a discussion about whether non-citizens, including those in the country illegally, should be allowed to vote in local city elections.
So I do believe that non-citizen voting is a step in the right direction.
In a city where nearly 1/4 of its residents are non-U.S. citizens and who often work and pay taxes, Hernandez argues they should.
Taxation without representation is a value that America holds dear. And so we want to advance those values. I do believe that non-citizen voting in local elections is about increasing civic engagement.
But of course, not everyone shares that same viewpoint.
As a naturalized citizen, I had to wait 5 years. And when I took that oath for this country, I swore an allegiance for this country, to the Constitution and to the laws. And I believe that the citizens should be the ones who have the right and the privilege to vote.
Santa Ana isn't the first city to look at expanding voting rights to non-citizens. In San Francisco, a judge struck down a law allowing non-citizens to vote in school board elections after opponents argued it diluted their vote and violated the California state constitution. But an appeals court recently reversed that decision, prompting Hernandez to move forward with his proposal. Now, no formal action is being taken tonight. It's just a discussion item to get the ball rolling. But if it is approved, then it could go before Santa Ana voters at a later date. Reporting live tonight in Santa Ana, Carlos Salcedo, KTLA 5 News.
Holy shit.
California is crazy.
This is why people don't watch local news. Anyway, wow, yes, illegal people voting, not a good thing. We should definitely stop that.
No.
You know, even with the thing is with these voting machines, it came in and was funded in like the 2000s, and it's basically the same shit. And obviously, there's been no incentive to do any of this, which is what's interesting about Trump losing. If Trump didn't lose in 2020, we wouldn't be having the conversation we're having about all these voter machines. And the thing is, the theory is if there really was fraud, could they actually overturn the election in 2020, or would there have been riots in the street? They almost made it so there was no chance, but Trump had to step down. And now he's going to win. If he wins again, it's going to change the entire system for the best. It was worth these last 4 years. So we got to do this. No illegals voting. Easy. And he should be 21.
Yeah. The funny thing about them getting mad and calling it racist to clear the voter rolls is they're removing illegals, felons, and dead people. They're not supposed to.
How are the Democrats ever going to win?
Exactly. So that's my take on it. It's not racist. It's not voter. What do they call that? Disenfranchisement. It's keeping the system running as it should be. Thank you.
Right. It's actually doing the exact opposite of voter suppression. It's protecting the vote.